Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. It is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. Welcome, I'm Jen, and we are with our co-host, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza podcast. And he is originating from the Republic of Kenya. He's established himself as a distinguished voice in the podcasting community. His work has been recognized with 3 nominations for Best African Diasporan Podcast by the APVA, along with a nomination for Best Blog by the Texas Creator Awards. And he has been a featured presenter at the Afros and Audio Podcast Festival and at Podfest, 2026 Podfest. Welcome, Sambaza.
Hey Jen, how you doing today? Sorry, I'm a bit down in the weather today. I'll try to make sure I'm a bit jovial, but excuse me, I'm a bit rough.
Well, feel better. Sorry to hear about that. But glad you pulled in.
Yeah, these travels. I actually traveled to New
You
Orleans.
did.
Yeah. And then I stumbled upon the Super Sunday. For all the people from New Orleans, thank you for hanging out. I want to send a shout out to Bo Dollars, and Bo Dollars is a guy. He's the chief for the Magnolia Indians. I'll tell you more about it. But
Okay.
we had a good interview, and I was gonna send a shout out to another
you
guy.
had an interview.
Yeah, I did. It was very nice.
Okay.
I was surprised. He allowed me to get into his studio he was working on, and we had a great conversation about the Indians, because people know about the Indians, but we do not know about the Super Sunday, how it started. So watch out, there's a podcast episode that's coming soon.
Okay.
And then next week I think I'm going to shout out to somebody who I met and became a subscriber, and he has a business, so why not, as part of getting our road to 1,000. So it's only
good.
right. Yeah.
Well, I know you guys went there under somber circumstances, but you did have a good time with the family. Aside from that.
Yes, we did. We hung out with the family, and met up with the people we were hanging out with. Celebrated the homegoing, and also after that we had a family get together, and
Good. Well, condolences again, and glad you guys made it back safe. But sorry that you're feeling under the weather.
Yeah, I'll be all right. I'll try to push it, but yep, we'll get you a great show. So, like the affirmation for today says, I am kind and unique person with a lot to offer. So as I'm sitting here, I have a lot to offer. I'll repeat that again. I am a kind and unique person with a lot to offer. So that's what our proverb is for today. Not proverb, but our affirmation for the day.
Okay.
Now, because I went to New Orleans, I didn't get time to travel around the world. However, I did pick up a proverb. I don't know whether it's from New Orleans, but it says, milk and honey have different colors, but they share the same house peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
How do you interpret that, Jen?
Well,
I'll repeat it again. Milk and honey have different colors, but they share the same house peacefully.
Okay, so I feel like the interpretation, what we're intended to take away from this is that you have to work together, and there may be differences, and we all may have our differences, but it doesn't mean that we can't create something powerful, meaningful. So coming, in spite of our differences. I'll leave it alone.
That's a great way of looking at it, because on my end, I'm looking at it, milk is great. Honey is great, right? They're all sweet in some other sense. And then things that are needed in the house. Fact that they have different colors is they're going to be used. They have different uses. So one cannot be jealous of the other one. So they share the house peacefully because they all realize what they have as a strength in that particular house. So what's the point of fighting when you're all working yourselves out together. You're all sweet in some way.
True, true. And I'm just trying to think of it like the value of what it represents,
Yes.
um, as far as an ingredient, as far as
Yeah, like you
yeah.
still use honey and you still use honey and milk when you create a cornbread.
Mhm.
So they have to work together to make cornbread. So they live peacefully and make the cornbread and becomes great. There's no fighting, not like oil and water.
Right. So that's a good analogy for, people, working, coming to have to work together. Maybe you're in college and you're working in a group project situation. A lot of different things that can align with that. So we received that proverb.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
And,
you for sharing.
and
Yeah.
shout outs to the people who are up today. I have people on Substack who are showing up. Thank you guys for showing up on Substack. And we have people on StreamYard, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and all wherever you're listening to our podcast. Please come on in and enjoy yourselves. If you have any questions, just go ahead and put in the questions, comments, and like and subscribe our podcast as we are all trying to reach that number up there.
Absolutely. Shout out to everyone taking in the broadcast on the various platforms. Thank you to Sambaza for setting that up. Make sure your camera angles are doing what they need to do with the multiple cameras on Substack and all the platforms. So shout out to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate that. We do not take it for granted. We really appreciate you taking time, even just for a little bit. If you're listening in real time, the audio episode is coming and will be available on all the places that you can find podcasts on both Woke by Accident and Sambaza Podcast. So please check us out there as well. So we
And I want to
appreciate you
send
guys.
this special shout out to everyone who's been out there listening to the podcast. We've noticed that we have had an uptick of people who have actually come and requested to be on our podcast, and
Yes.
we're going to put in a couple of people in the next few weeks. And this is great. It means that our podcast is being seen out there, and people are enjoying the content. So please, if you have a story, go ahead, email us and tell us what you can offer for the story, and we'll be happy to work with you. So this is great for the podcast.
Absolutely. We appreciate those recent attempts in contacts if engagement. We appreciate that for sure. So we love having conversations with folks. I like to think of them as conversations and not interviews, even though I know when we have a guest, you oh, this is an interview, but in my mind, we're having a conversation. So we love speaking with other folks, especially if you have something you want to share and get out there. We would love to hear what you have to say. And so look forward to some upcoming guests. We're really excited about that. Shout out to our guest from last week, Ms. Danielle Belton, award-winning journalist, former editor-in-chief of HuffPost, The Root. Really great episode there. Please check out the replay if you didn't get a chance to see it in real time. We had a great conversation. And shout out to her for joining us. So we appreciate her for sure.
Oh, she had an awesome vibe. I enjoyed myself. Very,
Yeah.
very best, Jen, your friends. At least she told me some secrets that I can use them against you. Yes.
Yeah, we had some friends in high places, right?
Nah, this is family, family in high places,
Yeah,
and people who know
right.
you right from when you are yay small. So if I need anything, uh-huh.
Well, and I wasn't even going to go into all those details, but it's a fun fact for sure that I did grow up with her, so that was cool to sit down and be able to pick her brain and have her share about her experience as a award-winning journalist as we're out here as independent journalists. So it was a good time. Good
Yeah.
time. For sure. So, okay, so we'll introduce our topic at this time. We are still, that episode was like our second in our women in acknowledging Women's History Month for March. And
Mhm.
so I wanted to pick a topic that concerned women, right? So our topic today is Meet the Collateral Damage, Women, Children, and the Price of We. So, in every war, there are headlines we see and the lives we don't. While the world watches strategy, power, and politics unfold in the current conflict involving Iran, there's another story happening quietly and far often invisibly. So, our episode is about the women, the ones navigating fear, displacement, and loss, the ones holding families together while systems collapse around them, the ones whose bodies, rights, and futures become battlegrounds in the conflicts that they didn't start. And yes, this is also about collateral damage, not just in the physical sense, but in the emotional, economic, and generational toll that war leaves behind. So we kind of want to bring some humanity to the collateral damage that is happening right before our eyes with this war that the U.S. is involved in now, and came across an article that spoke to this, and so we will have a discussion. All right,
Yeah, she was bringing smoke for real.
she did.
Um, okay, so the article is called "We Bombed Iraq." Black folks asking, "Who is we?" The person who wrote the article is Julianne Louise Anderson, and she is the person that we're going to focus on
Or
today in
Julian.
terms of the article. So facts from that article say that Black people make up only 13.7% of the population, which comprises 21.4 of all military branches. And this is sources of the consensus.gov and usafacts.gov. If you go check, you'll find it there. So um, she's a toddler mom, right? The lady, the one who wrote the report,
Okay.
and an educator and a public voices fellow of the OPED project in partnership with the National Black Child Development Institute. And we'll have the links of this particular information on our show notes.
Mhm.
So the key points that she was talking about here. But before we get into those key points,
Mhm.
I wanted to first of all highlight the wars that are going on. And Jen, you said women, but I think there's the women and children here that we're looking at. Currently, we have a war in Iran, and I think up to 150 kids were killed just the other day due to the war. And this was called collateral damage, but it shouldn't have been. I don't think this was something that we were intending to, but
Mhm.
it's something that happened, but shouldn't have been because of what we started off the war with. There's also Sudan, Nigeria, the Boko Haram. So Sudan is where the paramilitary is fighting the other RSF, and both of them have been fighting for the last, also, I think it's going on to about 3 or 4 years right now,
Mhm.
and it's horrible that
Mhm.
you have women killed and um, trigger warning. They are raped and all sorts of atrocities happen during times of war. Not forgetting there's Ukraine that has been going on with Russia.
Mhm.
Not much is being said about that, but when you listen to NPR and listen to the stories that are being told out there, you do have these things happening. Stories being told about kids who are suffering because of that. May not be worst case scenario, but the fact that there's loss of life either with the kids, parents, and whatever, not whatever, but kids, parents, cousins, uncles, that has an effect at some level. Lastly, I also want to say Congo. This Congo war that we have that's been ongoing battles, and it's not been resolved yet. But
Mhm.
we hope that these things come to an end. Now, I'm going to say this: we say collateral damage, but also you can say collateral damage is also on our end, our soldiers
Okay.
that have paid the price of the war. Yes, they
Mhm.
signed up for it, but no. Even Wounded Warrior Project is there to help out. They have all these organizations to help out. But as I was speaking to Tiffany today, and we are like, you know what? Nothing can change the fact that you've lost a parent, an uncle, mother, wife, husband
Mhm.
in a war. Whether the war was right or wrong, there's still that collateral damage. We don't know what has happened after that. The family, you will get somebody who can replace you and act like a father, but that's not the father that you have or the mother that you have. So either way, you can look at it as part collateral damage on this one, on this um, on this women and children as being collateral damages in issues of war, or instances of war.
Mhm.
But Miss Anderson goes further and she highlights on the African American uh, issues that occur within the the armies, and she does mention a couple of them. Um, and the key points of this article were the water cooler disconnect, which was how black women are expected to nod along to "we are at war" while their own communities are in the state of internal crisis, maternal health, policing, economic instability. Money being spent on these wars could have been, put back into communities. I
Mm-hmm.
think Bernie said the other day, 20,000. You could pay, actually every person who owes a student loan, they could pay 20,000.
With all the
The one
money
that
that's mm-hmm.
every person who has a student loan, yeah, 20,000, and they could do with the healthcare. It could be injected into the healthcare and other things. So we don't understand why we're not investing in ourselves, and partially also the black community. But again, we signed up for it, and this is the job that we have to do, however the circumstances.
Right.
But it's not right. That's not to say it's right. So
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the things. And then there was the disposability theory, where we is conditional. Where are we when it comes to time to pay taxes or serve the military? But we are them when it comes to protection and wellness. I don't know. Maybe you
That's
could talk about that.
interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Her article, um, which you mentioned it as the issues, but it's really like a response. A lot of people, this is their response to what's going on. We're expected to agree and, go along with this patriotic spirit, but you can't help but feel despair. You can't help but feel a contradiction. And she points these things out, being at the water cooler and, in all these, she gives different examples and things like that. And I kind of went in and pulled out some my own examples because it is a contradiction going on, with it. And you want to support the country and our leadership and all of that and all the people fighting. And we, appreciate our veterans and service people and the sacrifice that they're making, but you can't help but feel, torn at, this girl's school, the airstrike there, and all the lives lost. And you start seeing, these trends and things like that.
And like I said, we went all across the board. Wasn't we're just showing and highlighting all these other countries where wars are happening. So it's not something
There. Mm-hmm.
that's happening only here. It's all over the rest of the world. Um,
Right.
I think at this time, Jen, we have to say hi to the community that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And about the wallet, Anthony Weaver says, "Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the show, Anthony. Glad to have you around." Also, one more thing, I think we need to put this disclaimer: all opinions and views that we say here are ours and our own, and not relate to our workplace or any other place out there. So that with that disclaimer out there, we can go ahead and Jay Sparrow, Junior Sparrow, says howdy, welcome.
JR. Hey,
Hey,
former
JR.
guest of the show. Hey,
Yeah,
JR.
even Above the Wallet was on the show. Welcome so much,
Yes.
guys.
Yes.
Thank you for joining in. We appreciate you taking your time to hang out with us. All right. Now, the next thing, Jen, I didn't want to miss out was the last one you had, the Global Mirror, discussing
Mm-hmm.
collateral damage label in Iran is the international version of weathering down what black women face in America. Both
Mm-hmm.
systems view these bodies as acceptable losses for a greater good they rarely benefit from. Hmm.
Right, that's her words. So yeah, the really strong opinions on that. Um, yeah,
Yeah, she went all out.
she did. She did.
It's crazy, but I think what she was trying to do is, I think, going back and forth. When I look at the article, she is trying to highlight at least most of the parts where you know she said the conditional we of American history. 3/5 of the third and fifth compromise was written out into our founding documents. the erasure of Tuskegee Airmen, and the
Mm-hmm.
6888 from the school curriculum covered World War II. Dr. Martin Luther King's statement on that Sunday church service is the most segregated hour in America. Beyonce's winning Best Country Album on the only to be structurally excluded the next year.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry about that, guys.
That one was the kind of, I told you she kind of, went left a little bit, but the other ones, I was right there with her. But yeah, so. Oh, are you on mute? Hang on. There we
Yeah,
go.
now I'm back. So I was trying to understand when she puts that narrative
Mhm.
about okay, Beyonce. Yes, we understand that. We also did that about Beyonce. We talked about it
We
sometime
did.
now.
We did.
Um, these statements, the erasure of Tuskegee Airmen from the school curriculum covering World War II, and
Now that's huge. That's huge because it's not just taken out of the school. It's been taken out of museums and official buildings, some airports where they have like, historic information. And that's, the administration that has done that. Now that is kind of a slap in the face to our African American servicemen and is kind of appalling. You know what I mean? So when you think about things like that from her article, you see this feeling of being, disenchanted with, being this patriot, being proud of this war that is not a good thing for us.
yeah, but I'll also take the other thing. I was listening to NPR the other day, and there was a story, and this happened back in the day, and this was the days of the Jim Crow era.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was one of the guys who had fought in the war. I didn't get the story. It's still running. It's a series, and he had come from the war. He hadn't even gotten home yet, so he got into a bus on his. He had gotten a drink, got in a bus on his way home. The driver tells him to go back to the back of the seat. He refused. He said, "Look, I've just been serving my country, and you're telling me to go sit at the back. That's not right." And they called the cops.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was in full uniform, served. He just got to returned that same
Mm-hmm.
day. Hadn't even gotten home yet.
Wow.
So the cop accosted him, hit him. He lost his eye, and they took him to jail. Only
Mm-hmm.
for that, just refusing to go to the back, and he just served.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, and he was Caucasian. He actually got onto the radio, on talk radio, and got the description of the person who had done it, because
Mm-hmm.
part of the family members had said, "Hey, this we saw this person being accosted here by this police officer. He looked like somebody who was in uniform." And he broadcasted it, and that was something that people never did at that time. It was like taken to be like that's a normal thing. So
Right.
they put it out there, and they asked for who that policeman was, and they say they're going to go after the policeman. I never finished the story. It's still out there on NPR. Maybe we'll do a search and I'll probably find out more. But what I'm trying to say is, when we look at this, yes, there are cases where there was that idea of we were not being well represented, but also at times we are being represented. The general effect, I think here she was trying to kind of put in a whole she was kind of boiling it down to some of them, kind of putting it all in one space, and then trying to get at least some things that are happening culturally, like when she throws in Beyonce about that Cowboy Carter thing, and that those are things that are on the outside looking in. But what she's trying to
Right.
say, I think what she was trying to say was get in race. She was trying to say racism, but she was using Beyonce and systematic racism. That's what she was trying to use
Mm-hmm.
on that
Mm-hmm.
article. From my perspective of reading that article, I don't know what you think on that part.
No, I mean, and she wasn't wrong in the fact that we weren't treated well, especially going back, looking back at how servicemen were treated, back in the day, during the like well, I'm a child of a veteran, a deceased veteran, and so my daddy, told me stories, that
Mhm,
they couldn't even sit down and get a beer with the white soldiers. You know what I mean? They had to
mhm,
go over here. You know what I mean? So that's documented, that we weren't treated well. But we still, wore the uniform back then. We wear it now proudly, and we, have a right to be, treated with respect. But, I guess she's telling us in the article that respect is not always given and shown to us. You know what I mean? Even in the example you mentioned from NPR, that respect is not always given to us.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
And I think she was just giving us a reminder and telling us.
There you
And
go.
also, one, I think it was a reminder. Two, also it was telling us that the Black community may not be supportive of this particular war that we're going into.
Hmm.
And just because you signed up for it does not mean that you are agreeing to it.
There you go.
To me,
Yeah.
I think she's playing a great she's using her words carefully and playing it well, like in an artistic way, and telling people, hey, just because you see them soldiers going in does not mean that they are happy about it, and focusing on the Black community. So she's well aware of what she intends to do, but she's not saying it like, okay, she's gotten from regular sources that this is the person that told me, hey, I don't want to be there. But she's just giving us a reminder that, as much as the Caucasians may be saying no, so are the African Americans not accepting this particular case.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And this article was originally published in a publication called Word in Black. But it's been reprinted in a search of the author, who is Julian Lewis Anderson. That's where we're referencing, can be found just on a search of that. But we'll have the link out there for further review of that.
Maybe I can get it onto the chat here so everyone can have a look at it while
Oh, the link. Yeah.
yeah, as we go along, we can check and see what we're talking about.
Okay, so there's one link there.
Yeah.
Now I know we had we wanted to talk about, like, how did we get here, as
Right.
for a perspective of the war. Tension had been brewing in 2024, 2025. We're talking about Iran because I know you talked about some other wars, but I kind of wanted to focus on this particular war since it is so recent. Like, really, from our research, this recent war is documented as being started like February. Okay. So we're only like, what, 18, 19 days in, like late February. But the US's involvement, and I'm gonna let you get heavy into the war talk. Go ahead.
It's been 47 years in the making, and
There you go.
right
Exactly.
now, so 47 years in the making. I'm going to say this: I'm not from Iran, but
Right.
Iran did the Shah, who was put in by the Americans because they ousted the guy who was there before and put in the Shah. So the Shah was pro-American, and he tried to do everything pro-American. That's why he got into it with the Ayatollah Khomeini. And around 1974, he decided he wants to give development to the people, and that's how the nuclear weapons started. Nuclear energy. So Germany are the ones who built it. Just in case you know, Germany are the ones who came in, paid, did all the work, and that's how the nuclear program started. What? Thank you. I will definitely. Yes, about the wallet. Anthony says, "Hey, you need to irrigate after this live." Yes, I seriously need to. I got a night nurse who's taking care of me right now. So.
Look, I already was clowning you before we got started. I'm like, if you don't stop that sniffling.
Man, it's crazy up in here. But so I think the one thing, here's what I'm going to say about this particular engagement. Number one, Iran and Israel are there. Iran is trying to get the energy. They're also trying to get the nuclear weapons. I'm not saying that everybody's clean here, but they want to create have the nuclear weapons because they are afraid of Israel, because Israel will come after them. So
Mhm.
that's the reason why they have these nuclear capabilities. I don't know if they have had to, they can fix them or they can build one, but
Mm.
you know, don't believe everything you're told. Take it with a
Mhm.
grain of salt. So that's where the whole scenario comes in, and then we get this war. So each time something happens, Israel always say, "Oh," and there's been a treaty that has been going on for a while, and it gets signed, and then it keeps renewing. So this nuclear treaty, for some odd reason, was not renewed, and that's where Israel got uh, a bit bold and said, "You know what? We're going after them." And they're like, "Oh, I swear these guys have nuclear weapons, and they're going to do what they can to bomb them." The thing
Mhm.
about that is, now that they put it underground, further down, it also stops the effects of having something like a Chernobyl accident. You've heard of that Chernobyl? I think it was 1986 in
Mhm.
Russia, where the nuclear reactors went off and killed a bunch of people. And up to now, that area is still not, people are not able to live around there because of that. So
Mhm.
you got to look at it in all ways.
Mhm.
So to me, it's more like, and this is just my opinion, we need something to fight. Let's go fight and hit those guys. Um,
Mhm.
we need something. Who's next on the line? So we just got to Maduro in Venezuela, and then now we're in Iran, and those are the
Mhm.
punching guys right now. I'm sorry to say. And
Yeah.
next, if it was not Gaza, it was going to be Lebanon. And
Mhm.
yeah, so it is what it is at this time, and this is how the war started. Now,
Okay.
everything else you want to hear, the news, CNN is out there having a lot of stuff. Al Jazeera is there,
Mhm.
and the internet is peddling a lot of stuff there. You can also see, and you be the judge of it.
Right. Share about and you went deeper than I thought you were going to go. I just kind of wanted to give how did we get here? And like you said, it's been brewing. It has been brewing. So I guess it was kind of inevitable the
Yeah,
US to get involved in this way. And we just hope that it can the US can get out so that we don't lose any more lives, but lives are being lost. Did you want to speak to that part?
yeah. Lives are being lost. I think we have
Mhm.
lost up to 12 people now, 6 and 6. And what's hurting is these people are not trying to. These were like agents. They were not even. They were not. They are soldiers. Yes, you have the soldier title, but they're like support staff,
Mhm.
where they were, even though you're prepared for war, but you're still, you're still there trying to help out in the base, the military base, communications and stuff like that.
Sure. Right.
And Tiffany says here, a lot of people feel like it's a holy war on the side of, yes, on the side of Iran. They
Okay.
feel like it's a holy
Mhm.
war. They're out to get the West because of what they're doing right now. And let's not forget, remember there was a boy who was killed in Somalia
Mhm.
in retaliation to it's an African American boy. He hadn't passed 30. I don't know if he was even 25. He could have been
Hmm.
27. Yeah, he
Mhm.
got killed when Somalia, when the U.S. The I don't know who retaliated, but they got hit in Somalia because they have a base there, and he caught strays. Unfortunately, he passed
Mm.
on. This was a
Mhm.
young boy who clearly, I would love to have seen. I'd love to see people grow to an older age, but this is not what you
Mhm.
want. Yeah.
Right.
So, like I said, some people look at it as a holy war, and
Mhm.
I think when it turns into a holy war with Ayatollah Khomeini now, them killing him, and then he becomes a martyr. That's the worst thing you can do. Make them guy a martyr. Eh, You don't know these people, but you do that, and then now the son, who they said, oh, you think Ayatollah Khomeini was a hardliner? No, the son is like 10 times worse than him.
Worst. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
we achieve anything, we yet to see. So
For
it is
sure.
it is a war that I'm hoping comes to an end soon.
For sure. I look at the numbers. regarding that airstrike on the school, and help me with the name of that, with the pronunciation.
But which one
Sure.
is it? Trying to find it.
In Manab.
You got it right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Patriotic.
Well, no, there was another name I was going to say the whole thing.
No, you got it
But
right.
that's the location of where it happened. But the name of the actual school was it Sharjared? Sharjared?
Well, hey, you gotta put it. You gotta
But
put your.
it's in it. The
You gotta put
school
your
that
nuance in it. You gotta put your nuance, your African American nuance in it. Go ahead, say it again. What is it?
no, I'm not. I'm just gonna
Come on, Jen.
no. So the tragedy that we were referring to was the airstrike on the girls' school in Manab. From the reports, 168 people lives were lost, including 54 girls, 26 teachers, which were mostly women. And the kids were like what 7 to 8 years old. So this is kind of just giving another example of our point of today, the collateral damage of this involvement in the war, women and children's lives being lost. So I don't want to lose that point. And
Sajare Tayabe. Sajare
okay,
Tayabe. Cool. Yes.
gotcha.
I'm trying to say it.
So yeah, I know when that was broadcast, it's kind of like what and a lot of people commented on that, publicly, celebrities and stuff like that.
It was a
Like,
tragedy.
yeah, it was,
It's
and that's
tragedy.
just one. So it's so many more people.
So I think what so back to the author of the article.
Mhm.
I think this is where she tries to bring in the human dignity, where we are, no, not, it wasn't her. She was bringing in the sacrifice that is required by African Americans to
Mhm.
get into the war. um, you know the, there's a part where why Black Americans are opting out. The current white, she also talks about this. The current White House administration is continuing the trend of mass incarceration to erasure of Black history and the mass layoffs of 300 plus Black women. No wonder we're choosing to opt out of the we now. We're tired of the game. It's why Black Americans are immigrating, starting new lives abroad. That's another story, a podcast conversation that we can get into. But uh,
But that's a theme there, opting out of the narrative. So you may say, opting out of what? Opting out of the American narrative of supporting the war, basically, is what she's saying. Some people are not supporting it, you know what I mean? And so she gives some examples of how people can, protect their peace. Her words of in opting out of this narrative that we just need to go along with it.
I have to throw this out there because I think
Mhm.
it would be a disservice if I don't do this. I think not I think, but credit to you, Jen, because you're the one who's talking about the children. It wasn't her. She doesn't mention children
She
in the.
doesn't. Yeah, for sure. I wanted
Yes,
to,
you did.
incorporate that.
Yes. So we'll put you as, part of this is your idea of having to look at the collateral damage of the women and children who are affected when it comes to these wars. And we focused on Iran, and now we got the we effect. Who is we? As part of where we're dissecting and seeing what exactly was she talking about in her
Mhm,
article. And we brought in the women and children, being the collateral damage as well.
mhm,
And this happens all the time too,
mhm,
in all the wars. Um, you notice when they go after these leaders, and that's when I said, remember when we talked about, I think we talked about this a while ago. How do you create a terrorist? This
mhm.
collateral damage. If my sister was killed there, if my mother was killed there, if my cousin was killed there, my aunt was killed there, what happens to the people who survived? How do they think of America internationally when they meet, when you meet an American? You may not, you know, not everyone is the same. Some people will forgive,
True.
you know, and some people, once they get into this hardline, hardliners here and they say, you know what, death to America. They're like, okay, death to America. What can I do to help cause damage? Because I mean, it hurts when you lose a family member, especially in a school. And there's
Mm-hmm.
video, actually, there's video showing exactly what happened. And
Right. It is.
so this is how you perpetuate this thing going on and on and on and on. And I think with her saying who's we brings
Mm-hmm.
out the idea of not everyone is part of this. And look at us African Americans. We're not part of it. Not that we're not part of it. We signed up for it, but not everyone is gonna agree to being part of this.
And being a part as in supporting it, pledging our allegiance to it. Some people are rejecting that, and they have a right to have those feelings. People dealing with that kind of loss, that kind of trauma, some people don't know how to process that, and so I wanted to acknowledge, what she shares in the article, which some people rejected. She talks about how some people have left the US and, moved away. Some people have packed up to Africa and other countries. Are you okay, Sabasa? Like, are you okay? I know you're not feeling well, but okay. Okay. So, but yeah, so these different ideas are shared. And so, I thought that was interesting, and wanted to bring that out, wanting to have a theme impacting women or children are a part of the family unit. And so, yeah, just kind of inspiration and just kind of a thought piece for discussion. Um, so that idea of opting out of the narrative. So she shares a few thoughts on that in particular. So discuss how you can protect your peace and so instead of this national we, so it's the whole who is we, right? Um, this thought is that encourage individuals to build a global we, build a community of women of color who prioritize each other's survival over geopolitical agendas. Okay. And then that discussion that you mentioned earlier about weathering Black women, this weathering down. This thought is managing the secondary trauma of seeing the bombing at the Manab school, for example, while navigating conditional belonging. So, you know, it's a lot of different ways to process it, but people, are not going to all process it the same way. But I felt it was worth talking about that everyone has their own response to what's going on. Everyone is not just going to support it and nod and smile along, so.
And that's the beauty about this, is because
Mhm.
um, we have to have different opinions, which now brings up the subject of where we test our grit and test how we are going to survive as a people, to whereby we're not going to be just yes and do everything as just yes. We have to question some things. And at this point, if we question it and look at the whole narrative, and that's when I think some people have trauma, because they are wondering, why is my child about to be deployed? And if they get deployed, what is going on? What is going to go on? So there's much of stress with women, or families who are
Mhm.
sacrificing their kids to go out there and fight. But
Right, and
you know,
women are out there fighting too,
uh,
so yeah, it impacts us in many different ways.
yeah, and don't get us wrong, we're proud of the servicemen and we're proud of the service that they've done, and we can't take it for granted. This is a hard job, especially when you're out there in the blind and you don't know who your enemy is. Um, you signed up for it. We just hope for the best and hope everyone comes home. I think that's the best way we can sum it up. Yeah.
For sure. No, that was good. And thank you for participating in that, and thank you guys for tuning in too on the additional platforms. Any additional comments on the other platforms you want us to acknowledge?
Oh yeah, we're on Clubhouse, on
Mhm.
StreamYard, and also YouTube, Facebook. Jenny's still hitting on Facebook. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, Facebook and anywhere you can listen to. Some people actually watch our program on YouTube TV online. There's quite
Mhm.
a number. Yeah. So thank you for showing up for us and enjoying our time. And Tiffany here says it takes a cognitive toll on the Americans who are watching this all unfold. Yeah, I
For
tell you
sure.
that. Yeah, it is. It
For
is.
sure. And so, you don't have to suffer in silence. We've shared before that there is support. 988 if you ever feel like you need to talk to someone, even by text. Yeah, you don't
That's
have
a
to,
simple line.
correct.
Right.
Correct.
And also, if you still need help, there's a Wounded Warrior Project, and so many projects, so many nonprofit organizations that are out there to help the soldiers,
Mhm.
or anybody who is a part member, of who has a military family. They have lots and lots of help. So, don't feel shy to ask for help. It is out there. It's available to you, and just look out there and ask.
For sure. It's really beautiful the way that that community supports the ones who have given their service for this country, which that is something that we can't deny, whether what you are happy about this or unhappy, and you can't deny that people are out here for this country. So we have some other
Anthony
comments.
says, thank you for giving a shout out to the service members. We appreciate that, because without them, we will not be safe. Because look at it, you're able to walk around here with all the safety because of them being out there.
For sure, absolutely, especially as a child of a deceased veteran, I definitely support our veterans, but we definitely want to, examine our feelings and talk about our feelings too. And yeah.
Yep. And with that, I think we can sum up the day as being great. For all those who celebrated St. Patrick's Day with the green beer and what have you, I missed out. I was busy traveling, so I never got to enjoy the green stuff. But I'll tell you, I had my own moments. Like I tell you,
Mhm.
Super Sunday was awesome. Hey, if you ever
Okay.
get a chance to go do New Orleans on a Super Sunday, man, the pictures out there, the way they carve these beads and what. Oh man, look, I can talk a lot about this, but we'll leave it at that and say, guys, we're thankful for joining us tonight, and we shall end with that. And Jen, take us home.
All
And
right.
Anthony says, thumbs up for the day. Great show, everyone, and thumbs up for the day. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys for engaging with us. We hope that you found today's episode meaningful. Consider sharing it with friends and family. Our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change. We invite you to stay tuned for more engaging content, and we look forward to continuing these important conversations in the future. So, with that, until next time, everyone, be well and take care. At this time, we're going to go ahead and conclude the episode. We greatly appreciate you listening. We invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. On Facebook, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. We also have the new website up, www.wokebyaccident.net. Please check us out. And also follow us on all of your favorite streaming platforms. And please leave a review and share feedback. You can also reach out by Gmail, wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And every time you listen, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening and take care.